Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter.
This video is our Grey's Anatomy reaction for season 16, episode 18. Wow, there is a lot going on in this episode. We have romantic arcs, possible departures, breakups, but I think the meat of this video is going to be about one, Andrew DeLuca, and what is going on there. Is he manic? Is he not manic? We'll try to break it down, but we'll also have another video later on tonight about this weird lack of a promo situation because I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But before we dive in, if you do like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channel, but also ring that bell to make sure you don't miss any other updates. Can we start with this? Giacomo was brilliant in this episode. I mean, this is probably the best performance I have ever seen from him. I mean, he got some really intense stuff to be able to tackle.
Yeah, this was some pretty meaty material for him, and he really did handle it very well. There was a lot of range going on for him. This was a very good episode for the actor. Not so much for DeLuca, but for the actor. So, I mean, the real question that we want to pose is he really manic? And I'm still stuck on the answer of no. I mean, it all sort of, it hasn't kicked off for that long. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that he had this patient, he hadn't slept in 4 days, he had a lot weighing on him, and then all of a sudden these threads of, is he manic, is he not manic? And I was just like, the guy hasn't slept in 4 days. Like, I don't think that this should really be, this narrative really needs to be getting pushed when somebody hasn't slept in so long. I know if I don't have 1 day of sleep and I don't have someone's life on the line, I'm already feeling not myself. So I can't imagine 4 days, no sleep, and then somebody's life on the line.
I think it's just, do I think it's possible he may have some manic tendencies? Sure. But do I also think that so much of this is the product of everyone feeding into the idea that he is manic? Absolutely I do, because it's sort of like someone acts one little way, and because they know a little bit about the DeLucas history now and his father, that I think everyone is trying to look for something and be like, yes, there's something genetic going on here. He's for sure having a manic episode.
Yeah, and it was a few episodes ago when they had the big snowstorm and he went out and he had no gloves on and it felt more like he wasn't thinking, but again, they were jumping on it, being like, oh, you're being manic and this could be happening. And he said it was a quick line, but it was, that would be like me saying to you, oh, you forgot your car keys, so now you must have Alzheimer's. That it's going from one thing to like a giant extreme because it's in your family. And he's not wrong about that. Yes, if you see some of these tendencies, you want to keep an eye on it, but you don't want to just jump on it right away and be like, oh, okay, he hasn't slept in 4 days, but no, this must be, he's having a manic episode. It's completely unfair without him actually being diagnosed.
And then there's actually what we saw even tonight, because it does seem like there was something going on here that DeLuca was trying to point out, and I think after how he sort of got the Suzanne case taken from him earlier this season, after everything he went through and torturing himself for that, I think at this point, this is a guy pretty much screaming to the heavens, someone believe me, please. And I think he's desperate, I think he's frustrated, but I think he also recognizes how serious a situation this is. And if he is right, he's gonna darn make sure that other people hear him. And I think maybe that's to his detriment because he goes so big with it that people think it's an episode. But I do lean mostly in your direction. I don't really think he is manic, and if he is manic, he's maybe 1% manic and 99% just really, really upset.
Yeah, and the thing that I found the strangest about this is that it turns out that it seems that he was right about this patient that he was worried about. And nobody took him seriously at all because they all felt that he was having a manic episode, even though he hasn't been diagnosed with this. Nobody actually knows if this is a real thing or not. And nobody even took the time to figure out what was going on with this girl. And then it seems like she's being carted out into something really dark.
Yeah, really dark. And just because they all wanted to sort of blanket this idea of, oh, this is just DeLuca being crazy, when really it's every person. I think that you should investigate anyone's claims, because you don't know you don't know where they're coming from, you don't know what they've seen. And with an issue of this severity, I mean, some other people really dropped the ball. Like, I appreciate the Grey's Anatomy writers, like, making us think that they're doing the most obvious thing imaginable here, and maybe they're not, and maybe they wanted us to believe that they're going down this DeLucas manic angle. This is a much more interesting twist. But it also is a little bit just shocking to me that not enough other doctors or anybody else really dug a little deeper into what he actually said.
Yeah, I mean, he was the person that was there, and he was seeing this, and like, even when Bailey came down to talk to her, she only really said 2 sentences and then walked out on it. And I guess that I understand everybody's busy. It's a busy pro bono day. Everybody's doing surgeries and it's go, go, go. But you need to spend a little more time than just like 2 sentences and then be like, DeLuca, I'll see you in the office. I was just like, whoa. If it turns out that he's right, this is on everybody but him. And now here we are. And even at the end of the episode, when Bailey's like, oh, we should have held her longer, and we didn't, and now she's gone. It's like, yeah, that's right. She's gone.
Yeah. And now we have to also wonder what's going to happen with DeLuca now, because this isn't something that you sort of walk back pretty easily. This is something that's obviously going to be a part of his story, everybody's going to think of him now at the hospital as, oh, that's the manic guy. We can't say this or do this around him because he's going to lose it if he even has a job. And I don't know exactly where you go with this. I don't know if you have Meredith, like, just find him and seek him out and go to him and be like, listen, we should have believed you.
Well, that scene in the stairwell was really powerful when he was like, I don't love you. And she was like, well, I do. And I was just like, oh, this is painful. This is so difficult to watch, because this was a couple that I really enjoyed, and they're so fractured now. And I mean, it doesn't look like this is going to be going back to this again. But to know that she still has love for him and that she's not just completely giving up on him, I mean, that is good news. But at the same time, she has been feeding into this by saying that he's manic or that he's having these tendencies when she doesn't know either.
I think Meredith needs to take a little bit of responsibility here in everything that went down. It's good that she's saying she has love for him, but I think also she ought to realize that the most important thing for DeLuca is not for him to say, I love you back, but for him to find a way to love himself and take care of himself. And this is not necessarily he needs to go and get treatment for mental health issues if he's not manic, but rather he needs to just get some rest. He needs to just find some people to give him love and support and try to build him back up a little bit, because it could be his self-esteem's crumbling now too.
Yes, and that's actually what I was about to touch on. I think that his insecurities that have been coming from himself, and then also being in a relationship with somebody who is as accomplished as Meredith, it's difficult to be in a relationship with someone who is that accomplished if you have insecurities, because you're not going to be able to really feel worth of that person, that you're good enough for that person, that you're always going to be questioning yourself in that relationship, even if you are good enough. And we had been seeing a lot of that sort of eating him up inside, and then this case came up with where he finally made this breakthrough with his patient, and that's sort of when everything started unraveling. So I'm more thinking that besides not getting enough sleep, not getting enough rest, not getting the respect that he deserves, and actually facing his own insecurities are all just piling up into the way that he's behaving now. I don't think that this is him being manic. mostly I just don't want him to be manic. I think that storyline is going to end up kind of going nowhere fast for him. And this is a much more interesting storyline where people think that that's what's happening. He hasn't been diagnosed with anything, but there are all these other problems that are piling up on him.
It is, and it's going to be interesting to see where they take this because, you know, as a lot of you probably know, Grey's has shut down filming for the season. We don't know if there's going to be closure in the final episode to anything. This may not be something we really get resolution on this season because it's not like there's this huge abundance of episodes left anymore.
Yep.
But I hope DeLuca gets better. I think it's going to be an interesting story to see him sort of find his way back and see other people recognize their own error of their ways. But, you know, this is an episode of a lot of things just falling apart because it also seems like we've reached the end of the road for Levi and Nico, and I don't know if even Nico's going to be a big part of this show anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that I've really liked about their relationship, but they have been just kind of mismatched in a lot of ways as well. I mean, Levi is clearly looking for something more and deeper and wants to grow with somebody, and Nico just hasn't felt like he's been there for a while now. So when this whole job possibility came up and Levi wanted to talk about it, Nico's kind of like, oh, what is it now? It's just like, man, this is just not feeling right anymore.
He's just not treating him all that well, you know, to me. I mean, Levi deserves a lot. This is a guy who gets ridiculed at the hospital all the time. Yeah. Seems like, you know, he's been a nerd for most of his life. I mean, we can certainly relate to what it's like being a nerd.
Absolutely.
And what you have to go through with that. I think he deserves a partner who values him, who treats him really well. And it seems like Nico cares mostly about Nico at the moment and he just doesn't care enough about Levi's feelings. So if this is going to be the end of that story, unless Nico actually, you know, shapes up and becomes more of like a caring, loving partner, it's for the best for Levi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Nico's a bad guy. I think they're just not at the same place. They're not looking for the same thing. And then it's gotta stop, because why do both of these characters then need to kind of be dragged through this if they're just not on the same path of things? So having a single Levi feels like the right way to go right now.
Yeah, I think Nico, if he is meant to come back, he needs to know what he's been missing. And I think he needs to recognize that he's losing out on something. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. I mean, we don't know an answer to that right now. But I think it's the right move to sort of push Levi's story forward in a different direction. I did not expect the Joe and Levi roommate storyline to be coming up. I like the fact that they acknowledge that they slept together, which I feel like Grey's Anatomy's forgotten pretty much forever.
Yeah, no, it's good that they did, but that they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I kind of like it in a lot of ways, because I think they're both kind of, I mean, they're not in the same place. No. Because, I mean, Joe lost a marriage, and that is completely a different level of things. But they are both lonely hearts right now. And seeing Joe at the beginning of this, you know, she's sleeping on the couch. She can't bear to sleep in her own bed. I mean, that is painful. And then taking off her ring, she's ready to move forward. She's not ready to go back to Wilson, but she doesn't want to go forward as Karev. So now we've got Dr. Joe.
Dr. Joe is fine. I'm into the idea of Dr. Joe. She should just be Dr. Joe for a while. That's more than fun. I still feel like we're moving up a little bit fast following what happened with Alex.
Yes, we are.
But I mean, I don't also want to. I'm conflicted, because I don't want to see Joe depressed forever on this show, and she's already been depressed a lot, understandably so.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, well, now we're 2 episodes in since the departure. I wanted to see it last episode that she was going to really deal with this, so that we could all move forward. Mm-hmm. And now we're 2 episodes in, and it still hasn't really happened. And now that we're getting so far in, now it's just like, now I feel like it's done. We're all just going to move on, and there's going to be no real heavy reaction, that she's going to just have it out, write the angry letter back, leave a pissed off voicemail. It's just done. And it's left me as a bit of a deflated balloon on that.
I wish they would do something more. I mean, maybe, I guess they could always revisit it and someone could tell Joe, you're still not over this. But for now, they're moving forward.
Yeah, I don't really want them to go backwards on it. It was kind of a... It's a done now. Everything happened with Alex. That next episode was the episode to give us something. She didn't need to be depressed and go into some big dark hole. But for me, there just needed to be something. There was nothing.
Well, we can move forward, I guess, with all of the other storylines that are going on at the moment. And, I want us to get to the moment where everything with, ultimately, that we've gone through at this point with Teddy and Owen and Karasik. I want to see some resolution here.
This might be the resolution. I mean, Tom said that he's basically doesn't want to mess around with a married woman and that she's about to be married. And it seems like unless there was some sort of situation where Owen really pissed him off and he was like, oh yeah, well, by the way, this happened. I just can't see it coming out. And really, I don't think Tom would ever want to hurt Teddy like that. So if he's saying, go forward, do what you need to do. I want you to be happy. This is the end. We're not going to talk about it again. I believe him.
I believe him too. I think this is probably the end of this. I mean, there's always going to be like a 0.1% chance in my head that Karasik ends up blowing up on something in a fight with Owen, but I don't think he would willingly do it. I don't think he wants to hurt Teddy.
I think that if anything, Teddy's guilt is going to get to her and she's just going to tell Owen. But I mean, she may be able to just swallow her guilt. I don't know. I think as the wedding's getting closer, she did, sort of say to Tom that none of this changes her feelings for him. So she still has these feelings. This wasn't just, oh, I'm upset about what's going on with maybe this baby being Owen, so I'm going to do this thing. There's more to it than that. So I'm kind of wondering with Tom being like, I'm going to be the right guy. I'm not going to do this to you because I care about you. Owen's also being the good guy. Is she finally just going to get pressure by getting ready to get married? And then she's going to be like, and I can't do it.
I think she's going to come clean this season. I mean, the problem is by this season, I'm referring to whatever the original episode order was. Yep. But I feel like the secrets don't say secrets in the world of Grey's Anatomy. They all come out. And I think it's probably going to happen either in the next few episodes or at the start of the next season, but it's going to come out. And I think at that point, it just mostly comes down to whether or not Owen wants to move forward after that, if the trust is still there.
Or if Teddy wants to move forward. It's possible that maybe she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I hope whatever it is, it's reasonably decisive for the near future so that we don't have the Owen, Teddy, Amelia, Link, all of this just messiness. Just calm the messiness. Let Link and Amelia be happy. Link's not taking the job, seemingly.
No.
They're okay.
They seem to be okay. They seem to be happy. It was nice to have some happy moments with them. I think they're going to have a lot of other dramatic things coming up, especially once the baby's born.
Yeah, they just let them have some happiness. And let us, as Grey's Anatomy viewers, start to move in other directions with these people beyond just relationships.
Yep.
And see where they are and see where they navigate. I mean, there's fun now with Joe and Levi as roommates. I think there's potential to do a really interesting DeLuca episode now with what happens to him, where he's going, what he's doing. I think there's there's still a lot with Catherine and Richard, though I'm kind of over Catherine at the moment after everything she did.
Yeah, and now she's served him with separation papers. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty over that.
But I think it is going to come back up sooner rather than later, but it does seem like there's other storylines coming for a couple other characters beyond just romance, and we will have more of that in our preview video for episode number 19. Since Grey's didn't give you anything, we want to try to help ourselves.
Yep.
All right, but anyway, let us know in the comments what you thought about Grey's Anatomy tonight, and if you did enjoy this discussion, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe. Thanks to everyone out there in the real medical field. You guys are the real heroes right now.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you guys here next time.